As you put together your presentations, are you including material that is widely accepted as true, but in reality is not? And if you are, how is that impacting your credibility? Well, to get the answer to that question, stay tuned for your weekly dose of public speaking medicine. Hi, I'm Michael Davis, your public speaking MD. A big challenge for speakers today is using widely accepted information, statistics, or data in their talks. They will include this information thinking, well, because so many other people have said it, it must be true. This can be a huge problem. Just because something is accepted as true doesn't mean you should take it at face value. There are two examples in particular, stories that have been spread for years. One involves Sylvester Stallone. You may be familiar with the story that circulated for decades, that Sylvester Stallone was a struggling actor. He created this manuscript, and it was for Rocky, and he absolutely refused to sell it to any studio unless they included him. He had to star in the movie. And so many people rejected him that he got to the point where he had to sell his dog in order to survive, and he still held out. He stuck to his guns. There's only one problem with that story. It's not true. At least according to studio heads who 20 to 30 years after the event told the truth. They liked the script, but they weren't sure it was sellable. So they created a backstory about the author or the screenwriter, Sylvester Stallone, that essentially mirrored his character. They wanted to show Stallone in the depths of despair so badly that he had to sell his dog. Now, the movie Rocky is considered an American classic, terrific film. But even good films sometimes need excellent marketing campaigns, and this story was used to sell the underdog concept with great success. Rocky is still one of the highest grossing films of all time, but it needed a supporting story to sell the idea to the public. Now, which story is true? Did Stallone really struggle, or is it more the story of the studio executive? Here's the problem. We don't know. And if you ever come across a story that you think will support your idea, or statistics or data, and you're not certain, leave it out. Because if it leaves a shadow of a doubt in even a small percentage of your audience, your credibility could be lost. And that's the worst thing you can do as a speaker. Kill your own credibility. Another example is a story which is actually a pet peeve of mine. It is a series of studies that were done in 1967 by Dr. Albert Mehrabian. His findings have been so misconstrued and twisted over the years that people now say, many people will spread the idea that only 7% of communication is the word you use. Now, I have heard speakers, business leaders, trainers, educators, highly respected people share this statistic for years now. And what bothers me about it is spreading an incorrect notion. And that is that for presenters in my world, for presenters, only 7% of the words you use are important. That's insane. The reality of the study is this, and I've heard Dr. Mehrabian himself say this. It's on his website. What his study showed back in 1967 is that when somebody speaks or presents and there is congruity between their body, their tonality, and their words, people believe them. But when there is incongruity, when the tone of your voice is opposite of what you're saying, or if your face or your body are in opposition to the words you're using, only 7% of the time will people believe your words. So for example, if you and I meet and you say to me, "Hey Michael, how are you doing?" And I say, "I'm doing really good." Or, "I feel fine. I'm doing just great." You know that I'm not doing good, or I'm not doing great, or I'm not doing fine. My body, my face, my tone tell you that. But Dr. Mehrabian's point was this: when there's incongruity, words are only believed 7% of the time. So if words only had a 7% impact on our communication, would we remember phrases like, "I have a dream," Or ask not what your country can do for you. Ask what you can do for your country. Or, Mr. Gorbachev, tear down this wall. No, we wouldn't remember those. Dr. King could have said, you know, I got this idea. President Kennedy could have said, don't ask us, do it yourself. Mr. Reagan would have said, could you do us a favor, take this down? It's kind of an impediment. No, they didn't say those things. Those aren't memorable. The words they use that were magical, and they still ring true many decades after they were spoken. So here's your prescription for this week. Dig deeper. Don't just accept stories, numbers, or facts because they've been passed around for decades or even centuries. Do a little research. If you find any contradictions, don't use it. If something doesn't make sense, follow your gut. Dig deeper, and you'll find, like I did with Dr. Mehrabian, that words are much more important than 7% of our communication. You do this, and you give yourself credibility, and you will definitely stand higher above the crowd. I look forward to seeing you in our next weekly dose of Public Speaking Medicine.